Hello, my name is Kat. Welcome to your soul journey reading for the year 2016. Now, I'm recording these readings at the end of February, leading up to spring, a symbol of new beginnings in the cycle of nature. So there's no fixed time for how long these messages will resonate. That really depends on your own individual experiences and challenges and how you meet them. So do come back and listen to these as often as you need to. But I will be recording further readings throughout the year to provide further guidance as your year develops and unfolds. So this soul journey reading is basically focusing on your life path and your soul's purpose in assisting you in discovering your soul's agenda in the journey of your life. I'm hoping that by highlighting this specific path can provide you with some guidance with regards to any specific challenges or lessons that need to be overcome. And living your life with this deeper sense of purpose can bring a deeper meaning to everything that you do and the decisions that you make, which will hopefully enable you to realize your higher self and reach your full potential. Hello, Taurians. Welcome to your soul journey reading for the year 2016. So, looking at where you are currently in your spiritual development, the card that came up for you is the World. So the World is the final card in the journey of the major arcana, and it signifies a sense of completion, harmony, and contentment, where you're contemplating the idea of wholeness. And this card is going to act as a signifier for the rest of your reading, in the sense of the journey that you're currently on is leading towards achieving this state of wholeness. And it's basically asking you to envisage what this energy of wholeness feels like. Where is it located within you, and what do you feel is blocking you from feeling this sense in your life? Now, looking at firstly the area of your life in which this lesson is being played out, you got the Two of Cups. And this card symbolizes a few things. So this, for some of you, could be relating to relationships, specifically a soul union, a soulmate, divine level of relationship and love. But it could also be related to work. Now, the entwined snake that you see in the background is traditionally the Roman god of Mercury, Caduceus, and he watches over trade. And as you can see, the two people are handing over cups to each other, where they're basically sharing either love or some sort of business transaction. So it's basically highlighting potential joining together, either in relationship or working together as a partnership. And if it's related to a relationship that you're already in, it could be a sign of potential conflict, either within the relationship or an external influence that's affecting the relationship. So these are the sort of areas that the World is pointing towards your spiritual lesson. It's basically either in relationship or relationship within love or work. The main unconscious obstacle to you mastering this lesson, you got the Knight of Swords. Now, swords is traditionally an air suit, an air sign, so this could point to Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra in your life. And it's potentially pointing towards some kind of battle, not necessarily physical or mental battle, but some kind of conflict that you may be having with somebody. But as you know, the air is basically relating to state of mind specifically. So this could just be some sort of conflict that you're going through, even within your own self. So looking at this card, which is highlighting your hopes and fears around the issue, you got the Five of Swords, which is sort of strengthening to me that there is some kind of conflict going on currently in your life. So this would, if this is within the realm of relationships, a love relationship, as mentioned, this could be either within the partnership or some sort of external force that is affecting your relationship or bringing some sort of stress into your life. It's basically, I mean, knights are linked to sort of a specific person potentially, so this, or energy of a person, and this specifically relates to the energy of a teenager or a young adult. So for some of you, this could be linked to your children and potentially a teenager, or it could be highlighting aspects of yourself perhaps that are unresolved, that have their roots in your childhood, teenage years potentially, that are playing out and that are being triggered in this conflict. It seems to be triggering specific fears that are linked to some sort of relationship in your root family that needs to be worked through and resolved. Now, this is going to become clearer as we move forward. But these, I mean, there's definitely some kind of conflict going on at the moment. Moving on to this card, which represents in this position how you can overcome that obstacle on a conscious level, and you got the Two of Pentacles, and Pentacles are earth, practical, security, material concerns. So this could also be highlighting a potential decision between two choices or two aspects of yourself, or a potential new path that you can take. So this is telling me that you basically need to stay grounded through this conflict that's playing out, and find some sort of sense of balance. And you need to find a sort of level of emotional stability that will see you through this time, and remain flexible, and try and allow yourself to go with the flow. And adapt. As you can see, there's a boat in the background riding the waves of life. So one could say. So try not to force your position in however this conflict is playing out. Try not to be rigid. Try and be flexible and balanced, and adapt to whatever situation is playing out. The Knight of Swords is basically all about, in sense, if you can think of the energy of a warrior and being quite rigid, this is telling you to try and balance that out, and try and basically you need to be able to balance all the hurdles that are coming your way. It's kind of telling you that even if you're not feeling confidence in yourself right now, you need to believe in yourself, because you do have everything you need um, to meet your goals. This it's because of the material that's coming through from the pentacles. This is telling me that there's something that can be realized in your work and creativity, that can provide some potential solution to overcoming the stress that you're feeling as a result of this conflict. Basically, focus on other areas of your life that need attention. I feel that there's been some sort of creative desire within you for some time that perhaps you've neglected, and that could be that could provide some sort of pathway for you in focusing on that at this stage in your life, and going on this path of realization. I mean, I'm basically pausing because I've noticed you've got two twos here, and that's very powerful as well. And to analyze this on a deeper level, I've pulled out the High Priestess, which is a two, and you can also read the cards in relation to the Major Arcana and the energy that that brings out. And the High Priestess is all about strength, prosperity, and ambition. She's ruled by the moon, and Scorpio relates to this specifically, which could either point to the Scorpio being relevant in some sense, perhaps in this conflict, but she's mainly really about inspiration. You can look at the Major Arcana in a sort of sense of development, where number one is the Magician, which is all about the idea, and the Empress is creation, and the High Priestess sort of comes in the middle and represents that inspiration. So the fact that you have two twos really strengthens that. Is really telling me that there's part of your growth through this lesson is going to be through some sort of creative inspiration, some creative project where you're developing yourself and your interests, and perhaps trying to merge that with your work and finding a new way to balance things that you feel passionate about, and perhaps making money from that, although that doesn't need to be the goal. That's usually the outcome, unintentionally, without effort, when you are following something that you feel naturally passionate about. So it's the twos basically are pointing towards some sort of duality, a path between two choices. It's as if you were in a fork in the road and you have to make a decision about which direction to take, and whatever path you choose is going to lead to the fruition of those ideas that you're sort of culminating in your mind at the moment. In the background, it's something that is very much playing on your mind throughout everything. So it's very much, yes, talking about potential, undirected energy that needs to be channeled into something and is waiting for you to explore and decide what area you're going to channel that towards. Now, the five can be related to the Hierophant in the Major Arcana, number 5 in the Major Arcana deck. So that can shed a bit more light on the situation here and your hopes and fears. Now, this is going back to that conflict, it's the Hierophant is pointing towards loss or fear or some sort of lack. Although again, because it's important to remember that the swords represent a state of mind, so this is just this lack or this sense of loss is just an illusion. It's not actually real. It's just a fear that you have within yourself, and perhaps that you've had for a long time. Again, going back to this knight, this teenager stage in your life, where something seems to have triggered some kind of insecurity or fear or lack of belief in yourself and your abilities, and that seems to have been blocking you from following this inspired action. So that battle again, it could, however it's playing out, you need to look at sort of underlying root causes that are triggering you to react in the way that you are. There's obviously always two sides to conflict. I mean, obviously here there's a victor and someone who has been defeated walking away. But, you know, there's never a winner or a loser in these situations, because ultimately the way you behave is towards other people is always reflected back to you. You could see it as cause and effect, or you could just simply see it in the sense that there's basically, what can you learn from a conflict? Don't lose sight of integrity, even if perhaps you have been the victor. Is it worth it? Because you know, if there's been a substantial loss from the other side, then it can feel like a dubious victory. Where so this is sort of pointing towards the need to compromise, perhaps find some sort of middle ground. But in the sense of your aspirations and what we were talking about with regards to this creative project, yeah, it's telling you to overcome your fears. They're not real, they're in your mind. Believe in yourself. The card that comes up for this, you basically got the Three of Cups, and this is relating to the key that's going to free your soul in this area. And the Three of Cups is again, it's pointing to relationships or emotions or your inner feelings, and it's very much a card about joy and happiness, which can also be an aspect of the Two of Pentacles. Perhaps you've been focusing too much on the negative things in your life that are not real, they're actually imagined, and this is pointing towards, as does the world, just this recognition of gratitude for what you do have in your life. This is showing me a lot of abundance. You're surrounded by friends, that people that love you, a loving relationship, and even if you're not currently in a relationship, there are plenty of people around you that want to be there for you, offering their support, and this is telling you to reach out to them. So there's perhaps some sort of, again, this emotional issue that's relating to your past. This is telling you to reach out, if not to friends, potentially even to, you know, a counsellor, someone that you can work through those issues that perhaps you've never really healed or worked through, or you need to bring those up to the surface in order to heal them and move forward. But it's also telling you to embrace the moment, be grateful for all that's good in your life, and there's plenty to celebrate. And you know, you have every reason to feel secure, connected, and loved right now. So just remember that fear, it's not real, and be grateful, and focus on the positives in your life. Now, the three can be related to the Empress card. So again, the Empress is all about the Divine Mother. So this is again telling me there might be some issue relating to some childhood um, experience that hasn't been healed yet, that seems to be some sort of influence in this conflict, whether that's with your own mother or some sort of mother figure or older female figure that's important in your life right now. It could even be perhaps a, your boss, or someone that symbolizes that sort of motherly authority. Um, and the Empress is also, your card is, she's, her planet is Venus, which is also the planet of Taurus. And the High Priestess is ruled by the moon. So there's a lot of feminine, divine feminine energy coming through here. And so, yeah, I think it's very interesting when you do link these to the major arcana. It does bring a whole new level of insight, and can make some connections that are helpful for you. But she, because of this Two of Cups, this is very interesting. Something's suddenly coming through here. But again, this 2 and 3 with number 1 as the Magician, which represents the idea, and you have the 2 at your base, which is all about building that idea and getting inspiration. Now, the Empress card, which is linked to the 3 of Cups, that is coming out in the area of your life that it's basically your advice card, how you can overcome these obstacles, these soul lessons. And that's basically all about action. So there's the idea in the Magician, inspiration, and 3s are all about action and creativity, action and creativity, creative pursuits. So it's very interesting when you see this as a progression from this conflict that's going on either in a relationship or within yourself with regards to some sort of work partnership or work idea or inspiration that's currently brewing. And you can see this movement away from the state of mind of fear and lack that is imagined, and moving this way. It's going towards some sort of recognition of and belief in yourself, and awareness of the people that surround you, and the support and love in your life, and the relationships in your life that you should use as a foundation of strength to go with that inspiration, go with that idea, take action, because that is what is basically leading you to the answers and to the sense of moving forward and the development that you seek, that is basically going to lead you to this state of mind, of the state of wholeness and completion and happiness, where the world is literally at your feet. And it's all quite beautiful, really, these cards. Especially, I mean, the Venus and the feminine energy, and that's very much linked to Taurus, is all coming through. I mean, your card is there. This is you. And the final card is relating to where you go next. Basically, once you've learnt your spiritual lesson, or completed this sense of, or mastered that sense of balance and wholeness in your life, where you've overcome your fears and reached a state of mind where everything feels in balance, that everything's going according to plan. You're sort of following your passions, and you're actively bringing them into fruition, and seeing the fruits of that effort that you put in. And once you've reached that sense of wholeness and completion, the card that comes up is the Judgment card, which is a beautiful card. It's actually before the world in the major arcana, because obviously the world just represents a completion of a cycle. It doesn't mean that that's it. Obviously, you have to keep going, and there are new lessons to learn. It's just signifying that the end of a cycle, when you've reached that sense of completion and the beginning of a new one. In fact, as you see here, this is all about resurrection and rebirth, and this is really pointing towards a rebirth of your higher self, where you're feeling you're on this new path of fulfillment in your relationships with other people. It's when you reach a state of mastery in balancing the various aspects of your life, where you're fulfilled at work and at home, in your career, and you're surrounded by family, and everything's feeling quite whole. And the next step, once you've reached that point, is clearly a huge change, some sort of transformation that's going to come forth, where there's a clear and free path. This rebirth is, if you can imagine it, like a blank canvas, which is inviting you to create whatever future you can imagine. And it's also inviting you to reflect on the past and rectify any wrongs you may have initiated. And through this cathartic course, you would reach a point where you find yourself physically and emotionally absolved. And so it's basically you're going to be moving towards a state where you can live very much in the moment and let go of the past and stop allowing the past to haunt you and influence your actions. And on a subconscious level, perhaps they would no longer be under the surface. It would be in your conscious awareness and just ready for you to let go of and begin anew. So with that, we've come to the end of the reading. Thank you, beautiful Taurians. I hope some of these messages resonated for you and provided some clarity, and I will see you soon.